Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Big Wall Vlogs. I do reviews, comparison shopping, and everyday vlogging. Today I'm a little hoarse because it feels like I'm getting a cold. But if this video is somewhat entertaining or educational, please consider subscribing to the channel and maybe clicking the notification button for new videos when I post them. I usually do a lot of tech reviews on things like the Smooth 4. I bought this, which I can't remember the name of it. I bought it after I bought the Cranium 2. And today I have, I guess today I'm going to be doing, an unboxing and first impressions of the new GoPro Max. I want to say 360 Max, but it's actually the GoPro Max. So before we get into this, I'd like to give a little backstory to tell you, like, why am I talking about this, and what makes me an expert, which I'm not. But many years ago, I don't know how many years ago, I bought my first 360 camera. I think it was either a Polaroid or a Kodak. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't actually 360. It was more of a 180 camera because I only had one lens on it. It's right around the time where Facebook and YouTube started supporting 360 video. And the only way that you can kind of really do 360 video before that was to take like 7 expensive GoPros, put them into some kind of like 3D printed hub, and then, sync them all together, and then try to do like a bunch of editing using 360 video editing software to kind of make this 360 video. So too much for the time, too much at that time to even want to get into, too complicated. So I kind of let it go. I sold the camera. And then more recently, in the last year or so, someone that I kind of follow on Instagram, he was walking around with this thing on the end of the stick, but you couldn't even see the stick in his hand. And I was like, what is that? And I noticed how it would just change directions and shift and do things that I never was able to do with my previous 360 camera. And I hit the guy up, I'm like, what camera are you using? And he told me it was the Insta360 camera. So I went out and I bought one of those things because it was amazing, and I had a blast with it. I attached it to the back of the motorcycle. I took it on trips with me, and it just gave you those alternate views that you couldn't really get with a front-facing action camera. If I had it over my shoulder, it looked like a drone was following me. If I had it in front of me, it pretty much caught everything that was going on around me on angles which I normally wouldn't see, and I loved it. But the only thing about it was, in my opinion, a little fragile. Again, sorry, my voice, cold coming in. It's a little fragile, had no protection. It wasn't waterproof. It had no lens protection. If you bumped it or scratched it, it was a very expensive repair. But I still love the camera, and I treated it, gingerly. I try not to break it or scratch it. I try to wrap it up whenever I could, or stick it in a little pouch so I didn't scratch the lenses. And then GoPro announced the release of their new 8 camera and their Max camera. And originally I wasn't interested in the Max because I really am not a fan of the GoPro cameras. I've owned about 3 so far. I've owned like a 5 Series Black. I've owned 3. I've owned a 5 Series Black and 2 Sessions, the regular Session and the Session 5. And I wasn't a fan of the GoPro color profile. I wasn't a fan of the GoPro sound. For some reason, GoPros have a lot of microphones on them, and they pick up almost every sound. If I were using a camera on a selfie stick, you would hear the whenever I move my hand. Wasn't a fan of that, so I just bought, inexpensive cameras because I didn't really need that super resolution just to do the things that I was doing with an action camera. But the last few series of GoPro cameras have really got my attention. And that GoPro color to me was like a step above the flat profile that you would use for color grading, which they call GoPro Color, where I like oversaturated videos. And when I've compared video from the newer cameras like the 7 and the 8 Black, and even the Max, I was really impressed by the image quality coming from a GoPro. It now had that pop that I was looking for in an action camera. Another thing about GoPro cameras is they've traditionally been really, really expensive on release, and this may be, this may not have, changed since this camera was about $500. The Insta360 was about $4 something, so still a little bit on the expensive side, but it did something that I really was interested in, and it combined your 360 camera with your front-facing camera and the touchscreen. So I said, hey, I paid $400 for this one, $300 for this one. That's $700 bucks. I want to get rid of both of them and go pick this camera up, which is durable, waterproof, a lot of features, but that we'll get into as we're doing the unboxing. So that's the backstory. So let's take a look at the camera. What I just realized was I am now currently using my phone again, and I have it on what is called live focus. So everything in the back has that bokeh, like you would with a nice DSLR or compact camera. So this may not be the clearest right now unless I kind of like put this in front of my face. It's going to be over here and it's going to be out of focus. So I'll try to keep it in focus as much as possible. But I just kind of want to show you the box. Very nice box. I mean, this is probably the second or third GoPro camera that I bought new. Usually I buy my stuff pre-owned because you get great deals on pre-owned or open box stuff. So I'm not really concerned about the box, but I know there's a couple people who said, hey man, I wish I really could have seen an unboxing when you bought that new drone. And There's a niche for people who do unboxings. It's just not something I do. I usually just kind of get right into it and open it up when I get it and play with it and then get on camera and tell you what I think about it. But we're going to do an unboxing today. So I've just peeled off the opening tab on the bottom of the camera, and we're going to go from the bottom first because I don't know if you can actually go from the top. Nope, it all pulls out. Okay, so we get the camera out of the box. The box itself has this hard plastic case. I'm not sure if that comes off. It does. It probably will detach from this cardboard rim here, and if you wanted to, you could probably use it as a cover for your GoPro camera, using this as some kind of storage base. So there's the camera, and I'll try to keep that in front of my face. Right now it's got this false screen on it, which we're going to peel off. See how easily it comes off. And I don't know if they even have released like all the little protective things that I would normally buy for a camera like this, like like the screen protectors and lens protectors and stuff like that. Man, this is really difficult to get off, and it's making me burn video here. Okay, so you got that off, and now there's a picture of the screen. From what I understand, the screen is a touch screen, and it can be used for vlogging. So you can actually use this like the Osmo Action camera that I have right now. The reason I went for that one instead of a GoPro camera is the fact that it had a front-facing screen, which allows you to kind of frame yourself in the while you're using the front or using the camera for a vlogging camera. Two lenses, different from the Insta360. These lenses are kind of offset. One's, if you look at it from the top, one's kind of right and one's kind of left. What I understand that this is probably a little less, there's a little less quality with stitching with this camera versus the Insta360, because the Insta360 had the cameras mounted right across from each other, and it was a very thin frame. Whereas, like I said, this is more left and right. So there's some stitching that goes on there where some people say you could see the stitch line a little bit more than you can with the Insta360. One thing I did like about the Insta360, which I'm going to have to figure out how to fix it on the GoPro, is the fact that the Insta360 had a selfie stick that screwed directly into a 1/4-20, which made the selfie stick invisible. Whenever I watch videos about the GoPro Max, you can always see this little knob here sticking out, or like the base if it sticks out further than the camera. So we're going to have to figure out how to rig that. But once I get this undone, if I'm not mistaken, this has the GoPro style mount attachment built into the bottom of the camera. So let's detach it from the mounting base. And yes, that is how it is currently set up. So you can take this and tuck it away. I wish they would have put a 1/4-20 in there so that I could just screw a 1/4-20 in it, and that would have been great, but they didn't. So we're going to have to find some kind of like flush 1/4-20 mount that hooks up to a GoPro style camera so that we can hide the selfie stick when we use it. Other than that, man, the camera feels great. Not too heavy, and from what I understand, it's a little bit smaller than the previous 360 camera. It is waterproof, and you have the ability to change out batteries, which is great for cameras. Because if you're out filming all day, recharging can take a long time unless you are somehow able to use a battery bank and kind of be charging the camera and use it at the same time. You really are at the mercy of battery life when it comes to cameras without the ability to change batteries, like the Hero Session, which gave you about 2 minutes of video if you were shooting in 1080. But if you were shooting in 4K, it was a lot less than 2 hours of use. So battery door seems secure. If I can get that back on there, it didn't actually go all the way down. Let's see what I did wrong here. I think I got to press it down really hard because it is waterproof. There you go, slide back together. What I understand about this thing is it also has 360 sound, and these microphones are actually shotgun mics. So if I wanted to use this for vlogging, the microphones on each side are actually going to be directional mics, which are going to probably give me the best sound. From what I've heard in other people's videos, because I did watch a lot of videos before I decided to go out and spend a lot of money on this, sound was pretty good. Actually, it sounded better than what I would expect an action camera to have. So it looks like this camera is going to be pretty good for vlogging. And like I said, if you're into 360 video or you're into action, this is probably going to be the camera that's going to be hard to beat in the 360 world right now, because it's ruggedized, it's waterproof. If I'm not mistaken, because I got to get into the accessories in a second, this even has lens protectors that will protect these lenses. And that was, like I said, one of the vulnerabilities of the Insta360. It did not have any way to protect the lenses. Even when you put a protective case on it, because the lenses were almost flush with the body to give it, I guess, that better stitch, you could see the protective case or whatever color it was in the image when you were using it. So very fragile, sensitive camera. Great camera, but fragile and sensitive. And while I'll probably get into future videos once I've kind of broken this down and had the ability to use the application, the Insta360 One X's software was good, but it I don't think, if this does what I think it does, compares to what GoPro has done with their new 3D60 editing software. One thing, annoying part about the Insta360, which maybe I should have done Insta360 videos, is when you were using the software, you wanted to keyframe, like say the camera was facing me. You had the ability to have the frame kind of follow stuff or keyframe in different directions, but I almost wish as you were editing, if I were to scroll left or right on the screen to readjust the image, I could just tap somewhere and say, this is where I want it to be, where you had to kind of do a multiple step to do that. You had to kind of scroll to find the angle that you wanted to view at, and then you had to tap the screen, and you had to select that one frame, and it was a little bit difficult. From what I've seen in videos, this looks like you can just kind of like scroll through the video, find the frame that you want, and tap the timeline, and it would save it there, which is going to save a heck of a lot of time when you're doing editing. But I'm going to put the camera down for a minute because I keep forgetting. I get to talking. This is an unboxing. Let's see what else is in the box. See how this opens up. I think it opens up from the bottom. Okay, so in the box you get a card that introduces you to GoPro Plus. From what I understand, GoPro Plus is like, if you're a DJI fan, it's sort of like DJI's refresh program. But from what I understand, I think this is a yearly subscription, so they charge you yearly for the service, whereas the DJI product, you pay with a one-time fee, and it's good for up to 2 years. And I don't think this is cheap because I think when I looked it up, it was about $50, which for the Osmo Action, it was about $25, and you got a replacement camera up to two times for up for 2 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So you get that. You get a bunch of informational cards that tell you how to mount it. Tells you where to put the screw and the battery in. There's some more notes about how to put the battery in different languages. Tells you how you should and shouldn't mount it if you want to plan on mounting this to a helmet. Another informational card about if you need help. GoPro's trademarks, branding, free stickers if you're into that, putting GoPro stickers on stuff, skateboard, your snowboard. This appears to be maybe an instruction manual in different languages. And then we have another box here, which I'm going to pop open. And then inside that box, which is actually pretty cool, it comes with lens protectors. I think this is just instructions on how to mount the lens protectors. But not only do you get lens protectors, you get a protective felt case. And the lens protectors are inside that felt case. So here is one of the lens protectors. I'm not going to get them both out, but I'm interested in seeing how they work. The fact that they actually have lens protectors is pretty cool, because that means now they probably will release ND filters, which is something, again, you could not get with the Insta360 One X. So I'm going to just put that to the side. I'm not going to struggle putting those back in. Aside from the lens protectors, you also get in this other box here, it's not really a box, it's just another section of this box, you get a battery, which I'll have to get another one of those. Not only do you get lens protectors, but it looks like they've also included 2 lens covers, and a charging cable, and 1 helmet mount for a GoPro. And that's it. I mean, I don't think you could ask for much more. It is an expensive camera, but the fact that they threw in the lens covers and lens protectors and a felt case to carry it around in, I think GoPro went all out and gave you what you needed to kind of protect your camera. So that is the unboxing of the GoPro Max 360 camera. I can't wait to get out and try this thing. After I get off this video, I got to charge it up, and then I'm going to download the GoPro app, get some experience with that, and I'll definitely get back to you and tell you whether or not it was as easy as the release videos make it seem to keyframe and change the direction of video. And I'm never really sure if the video that I've seen from the I guess the promotional videos or the people who got these for free is unedited, color right out of the camera, or someone did some color profiling to make it look absolutely perfect. I am not a color profiler. I like to get images right out of the camera and run with them. So I'm hoping this is a run and gun style camera where I can record with it, edit to my phone from the app, and post some amazing videos online. So hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like I said, if this was somewhat educational or entertaining, please consider subscribing to the channel. and see more videos about the GoPro Max as I start to learn more about it and use it. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Talk to you later. Bye.